Hello, my friends. Look where we are. Look where we are. Still in the garage. Yeah, a few things changed this weekend. I was supposed to go hiking with you guys, take you guys on a hike with me, and talk to you while I was out in the woods. But plans changed. My ex got sick, so I have my kids this weekend. She got COVID, so obviously I don't want my kids exposed to the COVID, and neither does she. So I got my kiddos this weekend, and we were going to go on a hike, but it started dumping rain. And while I don't care, I will go on a hike in the rain. My kids will, they could do it, but they would complain the whole time. So, yeah, they don't really like hiking in the rain, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Some people just don't like to be wet, and that's cool. That's the deal. Whatever. So, what you guys get is my camo jacket as a backdrop. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys about a few things today. So, one, I was going to smoke a bowl of Regents Flake. So I went down to Cargo Hold. I took my kids to Paulsbo, and I went and saw Doug Owens at the Cargo Hold and got some Regents Flake from him. And I was going to crack it. I was going to have a bowl with you guys. But then I thought, it's from July of 25, and I've heard it's better aged. So I want to give it a couple years of age. So I reached in my cellar, and I found some GLP's Triple Play. Now, I'm not going to do a review. I might talk about how good or bad Triple Play is, but I've never had it before. But this is from August 13th of 2018. Now, look at this. You can probably hard to see, but look how bulged that tin is. I'll show you the top of it when I pull the lid off. The handle, you can see, is sticking up. So this tin is bulged. Now, I watched Beans 316, old Brian Doran's video when he cracked Triple Play, and it basically went like a gunshot and shot the entire top off almost. It was bent all the way up to about here. So I'm kind of nervous to open this because it's almost 10 years old. We're only about 3 years away from being 10 years old. So I'm going to crack it for you guys, and we will see what happens. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Oh, did you hear that? That was like a beer opening. It wasn't but it definitely had a good hiss to it. That was fantastic. I was like, ooh, but it wasn't really that bad. But let's see what we got in here. Oh man, it already smells absolutely amazing. I'm going to do the same thing Brian Doran does. Oh, wow. Look at this. Look at that. Full cake of tobacco. And there's a little bit left there on the side, but yeah, look at that. Look at that. And it's still, I don't want to drop a whole bunch of stuff, but it's pretty squishy. It's still pretty darn good. You can hear the kids, neighborhood kids outside, and my kids are inside. They're playing video games right now, and they just wanted to play video games together, so I decided to come out here and do this with you. This is the little bit that was left in there. Very nice, very nice. I'm probably going to just break off a little bit of this stuff that was already cut off. There we go. And I'll rub it out in the lid because I forgot to bring my Miram Bespoke Works thing out in my little tray that Stacy made for me. Well, sounds like the kids are going to be coming in to see if my kids are home, so I'm going to pause the video for a second. Okay, yeah, they were coming to see if they could play. And do you guys have any, like, I don't want to be the grumpy person in the neighborhood, but do you guys have kids in the neighborhood that just don't take a hint? Or if you tell them not to do something, they still do it anyway? Like, hey, don't come in my garage because I have stuff in here that you could damage or could hurt you. And they still come in the garage anyway and ride their bikes in here. And you're like, look, I told you not to. And, you know, so I don't know if you guys have that, but we definitely do in this neighborhood. And it really annoys me. And I don't, like I said, I love the fact that the kids can go out and play. And I want kids to be able to play. But they also need to listen to parents. And that's something that we don't have a lot of today, is parents that are taking responsibility for their kids and making sure that they know what proper manners are. So that's just my little old man rant for today. But yeah, so I loaded up my bowl. I've tried to shoot a couple videos, but the kids were all out there and being loud, and actually extra loud. And so I had to tell them to leave because it was definitely, they were like running into the garage door and knocking on the garage door trying to see what I was doing. And I'm like, look, the garage door is closed. Just leave me alone, please. And they would still keep knocking on the garage door. What are you doing? And I'm like, all right, you need to go home. So I sent them home. But I was sitting here recording a video for you guys and was loading up this. I didn't get to show it to you in this video yet, but I got this on eBay. Look at the inside of this. I love meerschaums. Look at the inside of this and look at the outside. Definitely well used. Definitely well used. But this is stuff that I absolutely love. Stuff like this. The original shank was cracked and broken. So I took one of these mini meerschaum, not shanks, the stem, took one of these mini meerschaum stems, tapped the original meerschaum here, and put one of the mini meerschaum tenons threaded into the meerschaum there, and was able to put this stem on it. And then while I was heating it up and bending it, my wife asked if she could help. She wanted to learn, and I said sure. And she accidentally torched the stem while she was doing it. But you know what? It matches the aesthetics of this pipe absolutely perfectly. It looks well used, well worn. And there's even a nail in the bottom of this pipe from the previous owner who put a nail in there up through into the bowl to seal off a hole that was in the meerschaum. So this is stuff that I absolutely love, is just old, worn out pipes that have a story and have a history. And even with this shank and stem that I made, it fits perfectly right in the old case. So it's a really nice pipe that I can take with me while I'm camping and stuff like that. As you know, I love meerschaum pipes, and this is definitely one that I'm not going to worry too much about if it gets broken. I have some really nice meerschaums that I don't take with me anywhere. I just leave here. And this is definitely one I can take out with me. But this triple play is fan-freaking-tastic. You can taste the dark-fired Kentucky in it. You could taste the Virginia. You could taste the Perique. There's 2 different types of Virginias in here. And 2 different types of Burleys. If I remember correct, Perique is a Burley originally that has been pressed, and Dark Fired Kentucky is also a Burley that is smoked. So you've got red and bright flue cured tobaccos in here. So you've got 2 different types of Virginias, 2 different types of Burleys, yet they call it triple play. So work that one out in your head. 4 different types of tobacco, that is triple play. I know it's supposed to be Virginia, Perique, and Dark Fired is what the triple play is supposed to represent, but I just think it's funny. But it's really good. It's grassy. It's sweet. There's a little spice from the Perique, and definitely a dark-fired back note, a smoky dark-fired back note, kind of a barbecue-y flavor in there. But absolutely amazing. I had some things to talk about today, but those kids actually made me really mad today. And, I usually stay calm when I get upset. And I was today. I was still calm about it. So a lot of times it's hard to tell when I'm angry. But, yeah, they made me mad. And I tried to shoot this video like 3 or 4 times. And they just kept coming back and coming back and coming back and knocking on the garage. And I had enough of it. So, that's what I should talk about, is the state of the world today, the state of the children today. That, everybody says it, that there are no manners anymore. There's no respect anymore. When I grew up, if my dad said stay out of the garage, I stayed out of the garage because I knew I would get my butt swatted if I didn't. He didn't want me to get hurt. He didn't want any of his stuff to get damaged, and it makes sense, right? But kids today, it's like they have no respect for authority. And I know I'm not their parent, but when I grew up, everybody that was an adult, I had respect for. And that's what it should be today too, and it's not. I'm also a little frustrated with the government being shut down because, I work for them and I'm supposed to get paid by them, but I'm not. And why is it that we can vote people in who are supposed to have our best interests, and then they can do something like this to where we're not getting paid? And if we're not getting paid, we're not contributing to the economy. So I really don't understand that. They're supposed to work for us, and now we're working for free. So tell me how that works. And this isn't Democrat versus Republican. This is American citizen fighting to be able to provide for his family and can't, because the American government can't figure out how to get their heads out of their butts. Anyway, at least we got pipes and tobacco, right? At least we can sit down, we can relax, and we can chill. I got tomorrow off. Tomorrow's Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day or whatever your philosophical vent is on that. To me, it's another day off. It's really nice to have a federal holiday, to be able to just kind of chill. As I was talking about, my kids and I were supposed to go hiking this week or today, but it was just dumping rain. So yeah. So hopefully next weekend I got my kids half a weekend. So Sunday I might get out in the woods and take you guys with me. But definitely the weekend after, if nothing, barring anything that goes catastrophically wrong, I'll be out camping. I'll take you with me. I'll show you my camping setup, show you my cook stove and my, just how I camp. That's something that my buddy and I were discussing the other day. Camping versus glamping. At what point does camping turn into glamping? And I think it's individual for each individual person, right? So for me, camping is driving your car to a campsite where there's a bunch of other campers around you, and I mean people campers, not campers that you tow, but people campers around you, and you got a picnic bench, and you set up your awning, You cook your food, you've set up your tent, your car's right there if you need to run into town for anything. To me, that's still camping. I grew up camping that way. So to me, that's camping. Um, I got a buddy who, when he goes camping, he does all that, but he also brings a cot for his tent. And why not? It makes you more comfortable, right? To me, that's still camping. You're sleeping outside, out of the house. Glamping for me is when you get a motorhome or a trailer or something like that, and it's basically like a movable house. To me, that's glamping. To some of my friends and some people on YouTube, like Timber Drifter, what I consider camping is glamping. If you can see your car and you haven't walked 5 miles into the woods and set up a tent and created your own fire ring and done all that stuff like what's his name, Wolf 902, or I'm trying to remember that guy's name, Lone Wolf 902. The stuff that he does, the stuff that Timber Drifter does, if you can see your car, you're glamping to them, and I do enjoy that kind of roughing it camping too. I enjoy packing stuff on my back, getting out into the woods, just deep into the woods, and setting up my own campsite. Nobody around for 20 or 30 miles, you know what I mean? Like, I do enjoy that stuff too. So, we'll see what kind of camping I decide to do next weekend. I probably won't get a campsite at a park. I'll probably go off into the woods somewhere because it's hard to find a campsite this time of year. A lot of places close down for the fall and winter. So I would have to go down a dirt road, something like that in the backwoods, which there's a lot of places around here to do that. And then I'll bring some food, bring my cook stove, bring a cooler, of course, some beer or whiskey, steak, hot dogs, whatever I decide to cook. And I'll show you what my setup is. I don't have an awning. I have a tent. I don't have an awning, so I usually rig up a tarp over top of my kind of staging area. But if I go in my car, I will probably set it up off of my car and be right next to my car or something. We'll see what happens. But yeah. Anyway, what point do you consider camping turning into glamping? And what kind of camping do you do? What kind of camping were you raised doing? Most of us in America, I think, were raised camping at a campground. Unless you were part of the more wealthier people that had a camper, that used to be. Nowadays pretty much everybody has a camper, but back in the 90s when I grew up, late 80s, early 90s, it was only the people who could afford campers that had campers. The rest of us had tents. And that's just the way it was. It seems like with more modern conveniences comes more affordability of those modern conveniences. But is that honestly a good thing or not? If you didn't grow up roughing it, and, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but what happens if the government never reopens? Eventually, we're going to be growing our own vegetables and our own fruits and hunting. This is what the preppers prepped for, didn't they? I'm just saying. So many people are so comfortable just sitting on their couch, watching their TVs and ordering their Domino's pizza that they don't know how to do the things that need to be done if stuff like this happens. They don't know how to grow anything. They don't know how to hunt. They don't know how to fish. Give them a fish and say, hey, gut this real quick and cook it up on the grill or cook it up over a campfire. They wouldn't know the first thing to do or the first place to start. So, and you never know. I doubt that anything like that would happen where, we're coming to the end times of our country and the government's completely shut down and, everybody's off on their own trying to fend for themselves. I don't foresee that coming because the government, even in the 30s, when we had the Great Depression, the government still worked stuff out and they were still able to get aid to people, and we were still able to continue as a country. But, I have faith in our government system. I have faith in it. But I also have the knowledge and the skills in case that faith is unwarranted, if you know what I mean. So we'll see. We'll see. Well, my friends, be blessed. Go enjoy a pipe. Get out there. Maybe grab some triple play. This stuff is pretty darn good. If you like, the way I described it to you, if you like that kind of stuff, you're going to like triple play. But just be blessed. And in these uncertain times, try to find some level of comfort. Just try to find that. Whether it's in family or friends or faith, As you can see from the stuff behind me, I am a Christian and I do have faith. And everything is possible with God. And I firmly believe that. He's going to lead our country down the right path. So anyway, my friends, be blessed. Have a great weekend. And have a great Columbus or Indigenous Peoples Day. Cheers.